Hey there, fish keepers. Professor Fish Tanks here, and today we're going to be talking about the Lacey Act and how certain amendments that are being made right now might affect our hobby. So stay tuned. So before we actually look at what the amendments are, let's look at what the Lacey Act is. And what it is it initially was enacted in 1900 and is a United States law that bans trafficking of fish, wildlife, or plants that have been illegally taken, possessed, transported, or sold. The act makes it illegal to import said organisms without proper declaration. And so basically it was created to protect, in a way, these organisms that could be threatened in the wild or not properly or humanely sourced in the wild. So the National Marine Fisheries Service, as well as the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, are the ones that administer the act. And the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service are the ones that also have a list of species or organisms that they consider injurious. Now, what do I mean by injurious? Well, according to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, they define it as any invasive species of animal or plant that has been introduced into a new area where they are or could cause harm to the environment, economy, or human, animal, plant health. Any on this list is basically illegal to keep. Now, the Fish and Wildlife Services of individual states here in the U.S. usually have their own lists of injurious fish. So, like, for example, I'm in the state of New Jersey. What the state of New Jersey deems as injurious might not be injurious in a different state. So, for example, in my state, we cannot keep axolotls. However, our neighboring state, Pennsylvania, you can. And the reasoning behind it is a little bit iffy, and I'm not going to really get into it, but that's kind of the how it usually works. Now, the national or the federal governing body of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service also have their own list of injurious fish, and the fish that are on this list, or any animal for that matter, is illegal in all 50 states, so you cannot keep it anywhere. One of the most common in our hobby as aquarists, one of the fish we cannot keep in any state, from my knowledge, is the Asian arowana. You go up north in Canada, you can keep an Asian arowana there, but here in the US, you cannot. There are other certain fish that can be found in our waterways that are invasive, that are also banned to be kept as pets or in our aquariums, such as the snakeheads and fish like that are already wreaking havoc. And to kind of prevent from them to grow anymore, they've been made illegal to keep as a pet. Now, coming to where the amendments to the Lacey Act come to play. So right now there is a new act called the America Competes Act of 2022. This act is basically to help strengthen the U.S. economy and is an acronym for creating opportunities for manufacturing preeminence in technology and economic strength. Now, you might be asking, how does this affect the pet hobby? Well, hidden within this new act are amendments to the Lacey Act, which affects all non-domesticated animals / pets. This is basically animals other than dogs, cats, and farm animals, owners, and businesses. The amendments would ban interstate transportation of species listed as injurious under the Lacey Act. So basically, to kind of further explain this is, if you are a dog owner, a cat owner, or you own a farm with farm animals like sheep, cows, chickens, things like that, these amendments are not going to affect you. What they are going to affect are businesses and pet owners who deal with pets such as fish, small animals, as well as reptiles and amphibians. And in the matter of banning interstate transportation of these animals, basically any animal that is on, or organism is on that ban list, if you will, in the Lacey Act, if I'm here in New Jersey and one of my fish are on that list, if I move to a different state and I want to bring my fish with me, that whatever fish I have that is on that list, I cannot bring with me to that different state. That's basically what they're saying with that second part there. Now, these are the actual amendments to the Lacey Act that have been put into the America Competes Act. So again, you can pause the video and have a read. But basically, the bottom line is if the America Competes Act passes with these amendments in there, it is going to not only affect us as the hobbyists, as the owners of these animals, but it's also going to affect businesses, whether it be wholesale businesses, importers, or retailers. Now, I'm a retailer myself. I own an online business. This is actually going to affect me most of all, because if I decide to ship a fish or a plant that happens to be injurious, I can't do that. I can, if you're somebody in Florida that has bought a couple of fish from me, I can't ship the fish to you. The same goes with if I'm trying to get fish in from, whether it be from a different state or from overseas as an importer. I can't do that, only if that fish is on that list. Obviously, if the fish is not on that list, it's all good and dandy. One of the amendments that I actually did want to focus on was the fact that if these amendments pass, it would actually grant the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service the ability to enact what they call an emergency designation that becomes effective immediately after being published in the Federal Register, unless an extension of no more than 60 days is allowed. That means no due process, public input, hearings, advance notice, etc. for injurious listings. Basically, if they believe a certain species is going to be injurious, they can enact that emergency protocol, and immediately, without any hearings, any scientific input, expert input, or public input, that animal is on that list, and that's it. It's illegal. You cannot keep it, or you cannot get it in, or you cannot transport it, all that. Now, they will also have a white list. Now, the animals that are on these white lists, or this white list, are basically animals you can keep. But then there is also a black list. That is the one that, obviously has the animals that are injurious. Now, the question is, what can we as the hobbyists, as the business owners, do about this? Now, as I mentioned before, this act, the America Competes Act, has already passed the House of Representatives and is now going to be moving on to Congress to basically be voted on. And if it gets voted, if the majority says yes, that act becomes into law, and those amendments will be implemented onto the Lacey Act. Now, the best thing you can do is to contact your local representatives, contact your state congressman, and tell them why you believe that this act should not be passed, or those amendments should not be passed specifically, and why they should also favor against these acts. Keep in mind, if you think about it, the America Competes Act is supposed to help the economy, but if those amendments to the Lacey Act get implemented, it's actually going to devastate the economy, especially in the pet industry. Again, as I mentioned, we can't get certain fish in. We can't ship certain fish to people. Even as pet owners, if you have a particular animal that is on that list and you're moving to somewhere else, can't bring it with you. So it's very important that these amendments do not get passed and enacted or added to the Lacey Act. So please contact your local congressman. Tell them, about the Lacey Act, these amendments to the Lacey Act, and why they should vote for no. Now, all the resources that I used for this video, I'll have down in the description below, so you guys can visit those websites yourself, kind of familiarize yourself with the situation and get more information, because there might be some things I left out. Also, the PowerPoint slide that I made will also be down there for your convenience. And please let me know down in the description below what you guys think of the situation. And also, if I've missed anything that should be mentioned, feel free to put that down in the description below. As always, guys, please hit the bell icon for notifications for newer videos. Hit the like button, share it with your other pet keepers, let them know what's going on. And as always, guys, please subscribe to the channel. It really does help me wanting to make more videos. And with that being said, guys, take care, stay safe, keep on keeping your fish, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.